Well, aloha, what's up everyone? I'm JayDreamerZ. Welcome to this week's episode of Omens. There's a lot happening. There's a lot to talk about. The world's quickly coming to an end. Or you could look at it like the grand opening, because I personally think that the sky's going to open up. But we've got a lot of omens that are happening. Okay, there's major omens and there's little domino effect omens. Things that happen that all lead up to the big event, the Great Reset. And man, if they're not happening more and more, bigger and better every week that passes. So let me go ahead and what's up to everybody in the chat right there behind me. I think who is that? Blondie? Blondie's in the chat and says, I wonder if he'll be adding the recent earthquakes to today's episode. I didn't have that on here, but yes, you're right. There have been increasing earthquakes. Here's what's going on with that. That one's real easy to cover. The inner Earth is going through magnetic fluctuations. It's shown to you in the media as gravitational anomalies. What it really is it's magnetic fluctuations deep down inside of the inner Earth that keep all of those hollow Earth gases at bay. When they fluctuate, they essentially burp and release little windows or openings where massive amounts of gas rush up through the cracks and the crevices of our world, causing earthquakes, earthquake lights, plasmoids, plasma filaments, plasma balls, ball lightning, obviously an increase in the frequency and the magnitude of volcanic activity, strange lights in the skies, fireballs, all of that, wildfires. It's all connected to inner Earth gases escaping. All right, let's talk about the moon. Let's start with the moon because, believe it or not, everything starts with the moon. If you understand what the moon actually is, okay, where does that come from? Okay, be careful. On my channel, sometimes I'll reference the moon, but I'm talking about the luminary. Other times I'll reference the moon and I'm talking about the apex dome that hangs down from the firmament. It's a portion of the firmament itself, the dome above that droops like a hump hanging down from the heavens. Now, this particular one was brought to my attention during our last live stream, where someone had mentioned that the moon is rusting. The moon is rusting and they say it's Earth's fault. Of course it's Earth's fault. Well, how is this even possible that the moon is rusting and it's the fault of the Earth? Okay, this is interesting. You have to have certain things in order to produce rust. The main thing you need is oxygen, an increase in oxygen. Well, as our oceans get hotter, all the little dissolved oxygen that the fish breathe inside of the ocean water or lakes or whatever, it gets released. The ocean normally absorbs oxygen from our atmosphere, but it's no longer absorbing that oxygen. So we'll have an abundance of extra oxygen right before it's all taken away, right before the atmosphere depressurizes across the world, the sky opens up and the apocalypse comes. We'll see a little bump in the amount of oxygen that we have, which will, you'll be able to recognize this because certain things, it has certain implications. For example, breathing in an oxygen tank typically promotes gigantism, and people grow, or plants grow, and other things, and plants do breathe oxygen at nighttime to larger sizes. So look around and tell me, do you see people, young people especially, much taller than they used to be? I do. But the moon is rusting. That's super interesting. This article's back from last year in September, but it's something that's been talked about for a few years now. A lot of weird things are happening with the moon lately. Let's check out this video and see what this lady has to say about why the moon is rusting, and then I'll explain to you why it's really actually rusting.
The moon is rusting.
What? Yeah, you heard that right.
And it's actually Earth's fault. Let me explain. Every month for a few days, the moon gets blasted by what scientists call earth wind, aka tiny oxygen particles that are escaping our atmosphere. When that oxygen hits the iron-rich lunar soil, boom, you've got rust. Scientists first discovered these weird rusty patches years ago, but new research finally revealed the culprit, us. Share this with your space-loving friends to blow their minds.
Okay, hold on. Now, let me jump in here. They're saying that the space winds in the vacuum of space. I don't know how you have wind in the vacuum of space. You can't. Okay. And all of these omens to me make so much sense because of my own particular cosmological view. If you happen to have an academic cosmological view, they still can probably make sense in different ways. You just have to sort of, you know, skew it around or whatever. But if you have the correct cosmological view, in my opinion, it helps to make sense of so many things, like the moon being affected by the Earth, and the Earth is sharing rust with the moon. Let me see what she says again. Hold on.
Fall. Let me explain. Every month for a few days, the moon gets blasted by what scientists call earth wind.
The moon gets blasted. It's literally the blue beam shooting up to the apex dome. That's insane. Anyways, the moon gets blasted by earth wind every once in a while. How's that possible? Unless the frickin' moon is under the dome, locally, inside of the Earth, as is the sun and the stars.
AKA tiny oxygen particles that are escaping our atmosphere.
That's oxygen too. That's exactly how I described the blue beam. That's amazing. That's literally like a beam of oxygen. It's Project Blue Beam. Boom. So tiny oxygen particles are blowing away off of the Earth, and the moon is catching them, apparently, even though it's super far. None of this makes any sense to me personally if I look at it through the lens of academia. If I understand that the moon is actually the apex dome, the physical portion of the moon, projecting its own image, the luminary, into our sky, now it starts to make sense. But speaking of the moon, have you guys noticed the moon, when they make images of the moon, they're starting to add color to the moon? Have you guys noticed? Why is this a trend? Do you see there's blue, there's red, sometimes there's a little splash of green or something in there. Okay. And there's a lot of weird photos out there. You know, sometimes people do it purposefully. Sometimes they're saying it's false colors in order to represent the different metals that are, you know, that's actually not like a lunar crater right there. That's well, it's a crater, but that used to be a sea of, you know, liquid metal or whatever their explanation is. I think it's totally whack. I don't think they know what the moon is at all. This same side faces us, staring at us like an eye in the sky all the time, never changes. But there's color. They add color to the moon. Check this one out. This is an official NASA image of an exaggeration of the moon's surface. See how they put all this texture on it to have, like, you know, the mountains really stick out. They say this is for learning purposes. Notice the color. The red, the blue, all throughout this official NASA photograph of the moon. This is witchcraft. They're telling you what to see. Let me remove myself from the picture so you can see all of it here. Now, pay close attention to this particular red dot and then this little blue heart and all of this stuff. It seems to me like there's a picture going on here. Let's look at another image. I'll remove myself so you can see this particular image where they have all this quote unquote false coloring on the moon. Do you guys see anything there? You guys see any kind of images or pictures that maybe look like watercolor? Here, let me zoom in on this particular portion of it, okay? Some people have noticed that this looks strikingly familiar to Mario from the video games, kind of twerking or something. You guys see that? So I also kind of noticed that, and I went back to those pictures. Let me get back to that color picture. All right, cool. So I also see other things over here too. Like I can almost see like the princess's head over here, something down here, and then maybe like a tree growing over there. I don't know, but I do know that they put pictures purposefully on the clouds when they paint the earth from space. I saw the word sex on the clouds, just like you would see it in The Lion King. I've seen all kinds of interesting things. People will tell you it's just pareidolia. Here's Pluto, what it looks like to the human eyeball. When you see the wandering stars, these are luminaries, lights in the sky. They wander about differently than the rest of the stars, and that has to do with how they are projected into our world. It's light on the other side of the firmament passing through the firmament. When that light hits different anomalies on the firmament, like little craters or domes on the apex dome itself, it will skew that light, and it will move in opposite directions and stuff. But this is Pluto. This is also Pluto when NASA draws it out, basically. This is what it really looks like. It's a little light in the sky. And this is what NASA thinks it looks like. Now, it's very interesting. Speaking of cartoon characters, this is Pluto. On Pluto. Let me move out of the way so you can see that. So you see the silhouette of the dog Pluto, Mickey's dog, and then the actual silhouette of the dog. People at first tried to say, oh, it's the heart on Pluto, until people realized it's actually Pluto on Pluto. You see that? Yeah, interesting. So I'm not surprised. Here's another picture of Pluto, but this is when that heart shape has like turned. It's actually turned that way, so it's way over there, okay? But I still am seeing Pluto right there on Pluto. How is that possible? Unless, I mean, what are the odds? It's right here. Do you guys see where my mouse is? Look right here. You see? Here, I don't know if I can zoom in anymore. Here's another picture of it. Here's small. You can see it right there. Little doggy face. Look, right next. I'll point right at it. Tongue, cheeks, nose, eyes, head, ears. Okay, that's literally Pluto. Again, on Pluto. This is a picture somebody recently took here in my hometown in Colorado Springs of the Garden of the Gods. And it looks strikingly similar to what I like to call a plasma volcano, an opening in the earth where electricity shoots out. It's not, it's just perspective. But to me, these are my own personal omens. I see stuff like this and I know what's up. These right here are sprites. People are seeing these more and more as time moves forward. People used to never see sprites in the sky. It was like a miracle. It was such a rare event if people could capture these. But look at them. I mean, take a good hard look at what people call sprites, which, by the way, is really similar to the word spirit. Look at these sprites, spirits in the sky. Now, do you see anything? Let's go ahead and use pareidolia to our advantage. Let's imagine we're ancient cavemen and there's, some amplified electrical field in our atmosphere for some reason, and we don't understand plasmas, plasmoids, plasma physics, electricity at all. So we just see pictures in the sky. What kind of pictures would you see? And if you were to carve those pictures onto a rock nearby, what types of images would you carve? What do you see here? I definitely see like a central figure that kind of stands out above the rest. Right here. There's also some things over here, but this is your imagination, okay? What it really is it's electricity. It's plasma up in the upper atmosphere, high above the clouds. As a matter of fact, look at these are the mountains way back. I can barely see the mountains, but see, those are the clouds down there. These are huge. Huge. They're called transient luminous events. Transient means temporary. They're luminous light events. Transient, they flicker real quick. But if you amplify the electrical field, the amount of electricity in the atmosphere, which it used to be much more, and there's ample evidence for this. If one were to look hard enough, you'll find ample evidence. I believe people like Tesla understood this and knew this and lived further back in time and therefore closer to a time when the electrical field was stronger in the atmosphere. Okay? But if you take a look at these things, they do resemble certain things. Let me jump out of the way and let you take a good look. Here's another version of that same thing. Take a look at this. Do you see anything going on there? Use pareidolia to your advantage by all means. That doesn't mean it is whatever you see, because what it is electricity. And it creates its own magnetic field, which means it will repel itself. That's why you see some of these plasmoids shooting upwards at this point, pinching in the middle, and then shooting right back downwards, making these root systems or legs at the bottom. See, little squatting legs right there with like a central stick piece, I'll call that, going up towards this triangular torso and what almost look like wings. Now I'm sort of telling you what I see, okay? I don't want to tell you what you should see, but geez, man, I'm seeing all kinds of stuff there. Hey, who was that in the chat? Ghetto. High five to Ghetto. High five, Ghetto. Hey, you're super welcome. Thank you, everybody. Everybody like that donation if you don't mind. When people donate, I like it. I like to see the thumbs up on their donation, you know, at least to give them a little high five. Now, what that reminds me of are these petroglyphs that have been drawn across the world that look very similar. We've got this sort of triangular shaped body with these weird long fingers all pointing away. The duck head. There'll be different types of heads on these things, but look at these long toes. It looks very similar to me like these root systems at the bottoms of these sprites, or the bottom portion, the legs or whatever. See how they're like spindly? Looks like wings. I can almost see a crown and a face like looking sideways like that on this guy right here. That's what I see. Okay. And if I was some ancient caveman looking up into an electrically amplified sky, I would draw that, not knowing what it is, but that's what it looks like. And I would draw something similar to this. Here's another example. You can see there's a castle down here in the background. Here's how high up the clouds are, way higher up in the sky. Like, that's how big these things are, these sprites. Now, listen, when you amplify the electrical field and you lower the pressure in the atmosphere, you now can allow these transient luminous events to last much longer. That means these spirits, these sprites in the heavens, are going to not flash. They're going to stay up in the sky, and they'll move about slowly, wandering. And you can have other things that will move about too, undulating like plasma filaments or plasma dragons, or orbs that will just move about and come down real low to the ground. And you'll have all kinds of stuff that has been recorded throughout antiquity. If you were to look, you'll find it. Now, some people may have seen things like these sprites over here. Let's zoom in on them real close, and seen entities, maybe aliens, maybe angels, maybe devils, maybe Anunnaki with their horns. The more powerful ones have more horns on their heads. Maybe that's what people saw in antiquity. But people are seeing this more and more often. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, this was shared on my Patreon. So on my Patreon, I've got a couple of different chats that are 24/7. One is an Omens chat where you guys can post pictures, articles, or whatever of recent events, of strange omens, of your own, your own things that you capture. So somebody shared this one with me. I thought this was amazing. This is not AI. This is actually real. I researched the heck out of this to make sure this was actual real video, and it is. They're calling this the strange atmospheric anomaly or whatever. That is an omen if I've ever seen one, when the rainbow is just all screwed up and mixed up. And there's like, I've seen triple rainbows and double rainbows and stuff like that. I've never in my life. This is the sky out of control. Like, this is definitely an omen. There is a problem with the sky itself. Okay, when you got rainbows coming in at all directions, crossing each other just like that. Something's up with the atmosphere. Something's going on with the sky, man. Shoo, buddy, that's insane. Thank you so much. Who was that, by the way? I don't know. I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys my Patreon Omens chat here in a minute. Next up, we've got singer Oliver Tree. So I was actually unaware of this person. My 11-year-old son came up to me and asked me if I knew Oliver Tree died. He was all excited about it. He's like, "Oh my God, Oliver Tree died." I'm like, "Who is that? I have no idea. I'm an old man. I don't know who Oliver Tree is. I don't watch TV." Like, who is that? He's a singer. So let's check this out.
2 helicopters crashed over Rio de Janeiro, and this was one of them, according to fire officials. All 6 people on board died. On the passenger list was American singer and comedian Oliver Tree, although the bodies of those killed in the crash have not yet been identified. Officials said an investigation is underway to determine the cause of the collision. Tree had performed in Buenos Aires, Argentina on June 4th and later posted a video showing him in a Brazilian neighborhood. Argentine streaming channel Blender said content creator Gaspar Prim Diaz, also known as Gaspi, was also in one of...
Okay, hold on, time out. This particular scene, all right, let me start at the beginning. Oliver Tree is a sensation. He's a famous person. He's a singer. He's got all kinds of stuff to his name that he does, okay? The name itself is very interesting because we have the olive tree, obviously, right? The olive tree, which is symbolic of that same blue beam of energy that shoots up out of Mount Meru at the center of the world, and it branches out and it creates little plasmoids that are seen as the fruit of this tree of life at the center of the world. Sometimes people would refer to, different cultures would refer to it, the fruit, in different ways. Typically here in the United States, we would say it's the apple. And it's the apple of life, or the fruit of the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. In the East, they would refer to it as peaches of immortality. And there's different ways that it was looked at, like ambrosia and stuff like that. But anyways, so the name itself is significant, that they have... A lot of people don't think that he actually died in this car crash. I mean, not car crash. I'm looking at the cars. In this helicopter crash, okay? 2 helicopters collided. You know how rare that is? That's pretty rare. Okay, let's just go with the story. He was in the helicopter that crashed into another helicopter. Then it landed right here where these electrical cars are all parked. And it just like melted all of the rubber off of them, totally destroyed them. It looks like it left bullet holes in this particular one. I don't know what that's supposed to be. But this reminds me of like the scene from 9/11 at the very bottom of all those buildings when the cars were just all demolished and stuff. I don't know. I don't study a lot of plane crashes, you know, except for when I'm looking to that particular subject. But it doesn't seem to me like a plane, like a helicopter that hits another helicopter is going to hit the ground and melt all these cars or destroy all these cars or whatever. I don't know. What do you guys think? I could be wrong, but I just don't see that happening in my mind, you know? Plane crashes, airplane crashes, helicopter crashes, all that stuff. It's not like in the movies. In the movies, they have freaking bombs, specially made bombs that they make to make huge explosions so that the crash looks larger than life. So if you see like a car going off a cliff and it hits the ground, it boom, and you're going to have a huge fireball and an explosion and everything. In real life, that's not going to happen. Okay, that would be a rare occurrence. You'd have to have it just perfect. But just because it has gasoline, just because it has fuel, does not mean that it's guaranteed that fuel is going to blow up. But not a lot of people believe that a lot of people believe that there's some strange things to his death. He was 32. He's about to be, or was about to be, 33 in 2 weeks. From today, he would have been 33 years old. Very interesting. He had basically been predicting his death in interviews, at concerts, in his music videos, in his lyrics, forever, and nobody seemed to question why he's talking about his own death, even with the symbolism of falling to his death. Check this out.
Longer coming out. Love You Madly, Hate You Badly is officially canceled, and I'm parting ways with Atlantic Records. So, before I play the rest of this, right before he
his airplane crashed, his helicopter crashed. He made this TikTok saying to everyone, I'm parting ways with my record label. I'm not going to work with them anymore. I'm not going to do their anything. I'm not going to work for them any longer. He just decides to just break his contract with Atlantic Records. So this is his announcement right before he died. That's an interesting coincidence.
The scenes has been nothing short of a nightmare.
Musician Oliver Tree
Oh, snap,
has died in a tragic helicopter crash at just 32 years old.
I have no marketing budgets for music videos, no digital ad spend. Nobody really cares in the building, it seems like. I made a lot of money for Atlantic Records, and they don't seem to remember that. I have gotten no support. They forgot to ingest multiple songs into the system, which means the songs didn't come out. I had a Valentine's Day breakout song that didn't even get released because someone forgot to put it in. I don't really understand how that's possible. I've made them tens of millions of dollars, but they don't remember that. So, the music is owned by them. The remainder of the music will not be coming out. I will always continue to make music. Thank you for everyone who's supported me. I can't wait to release more music at some point at a later time, but for now, there is nothing on the horizon. I'm so sorry, and I love.
Okay, so he put that out right before he had died in this helicopter crash. You know what else he did right before he put this? He died in this helicopter crash. This is interesting. Check this out.
That's the problem. So this is one of the things I came here to research, which is the alien bases.
We saw UAP.
UAPs we've seen UFOs, we've seen a wider range of things. We've seen ones that were oblongato, very long, more like a missile, and we've seen ones that are more circular, the traditional standard kind of boring.
Okay, so the audio might be weird, okay? It's hard for me to do the audio because different people record audio at different levels. But let me just tell you what's going on. He's in Antarctica. He went to Antarctica. This singer, eccentric songwriter, comedian guy. I've seen a lot of stuff. Like there was also the Will Rogers death, who was also a comedian who went up to the northernmost points you can go to in Alaska before his plane also crashed to the ground. That's interesting. Here we have Oliver Tree talking about in Antarctica in footage for like this sort of documentary he was doing that was unreleased, that wasn't supposed to be released or something. And he's talking about how he's seen UFOs, UAPs, unidentified lights in the sky, strange things, and he really wants to investigate it. Wow. Let me play the rest of this for you.
Textbook stuff. We've seen a wide array of those. Those are rare.
I'm always watching.
But have you seen them coming out from underwater?
Oh yeah, they work their way down. They finally make a hole. And the way they go, that water drains down, and sometimes you see them shooting out the sides of these big chunks. I've been keeping my eyes pretty wide open, and I've been looking.
We saw it one time. It was absolutely stunning.
I'm on a rifle team with the military.
Me too.
I'm pretty good at ranging, just looking at things. And like I say, just look at the stuff you know, and the length of it, give you a good judgment.
If I was to bet, that little one looks like an entry fork right there. The one on the right, that small one, that's probably for a smaller ship. Get a close-up of that. What I'd give to get a chance to go up in there. Are you fucking shit? 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, that's enough of that. I believe you guys get the gist of it. He's out there snooping around in Antarctica, talking about how he's seeing UFOs, and he really wants to investigate. He wants to share this information with everybody. He also was dating a singer that I like. I mean, I don't like have a crush on her or anything, but I like her music. Her name's Melanie Martinez. She's got sweet music, actually. I like her. She's got a lot of Plasma Apocalypse stuff going on. Okay. But Melanie Martinez. So Oliver Tree, who represents the Blue Beam, was dating Mount Meru. Melanie Martinez. The stuff that they do is all designed. Okay. From the hair to the symbolism to the props to the very lyrics themselves. You think these people write their own songs? Yeah, to start. But then they're picked up and they have these contracts where they're forced to sing, however they want to, somebody else's lyrics. Anyways, I think this is very interesting. Last thing I'll show you about Oliver Tree. This person posted, this is crazy. Just before he left on a tour a few weeks ago, he said, "And then I'm gone for good." Check out this interview.
When do you leave for tour?
I leave for tour in 1 week. Then I'm gone for good. 1 week. Then I'm gone for good.
I leave for tour in 1 week. Then I'm gone for good. That's an interesting thing to say, you know, right before a tragic accident. All right, let's move on. So we've talked about how there are American scientists, prominent people within military industries and plasma physics and collegiate level scientists who have gone missing over the past couple of years here in the United States. We've talked even about how the Netflix series Three Body Problem predicted this. That's how the whole show starts. Missing scientists all around the world, and scientists that just off themselves for apparently no reason whatsoever. They were all seeing this countdown, which was a countdown to the apocalypse, by the way. But it's not just happening here in the United States. This apparently is happening around the world. China has the same problem with missing scientists and scientists who have been mysteriously dying. Prominent people. As a matter of fact, we've got a whole list of people right here behind me. I'll show you some of them. So here's some of the Americans who have been missing or died under mysterious circumstances, and oftentimes they don't like really produce a body or anything like that. We've got some of these Chinese people had jobs like military simulation systems, hypersonic weapons research, artificial intelligence, military applications, aerospace engineering, space systems, nuclear physics, reactor technology, bioengineering, defense research. You'll have to excuse this might be AI or something, but it's still showing you their jobs, okay? Quantum communication technology, electronic warfare systems, advanced materials for military use. This is very interesting to me personally, that we have all of these different prolific scientists around the world that are just going missing. And it seems to be swept under the rug. It seems to be like, hey, let's just talk about this, you know, when we do our puppy segment on Good Morning America or something, and then really don't investigate. Don't really put a lot of energy or work into this. It seems obvious to me if the people do, just like in Three Body Problem, if they do know, if they are aware that an apocalyptic event, a cataclysm is on the way, that they would start preparing for it. I would expect to see an increase in construction, specifically underground construction near places of power or prominence where powerful individuals, I don't know, people that run the country, live and work and reside, and existing military doomsday bunkers to be worked on. And, I would expect a lot of this stuff to be in the news. I would also expect that they would need workers for the future, for their, to help regulate and run their underground cities, their doomsday bunkers, but also in the world to come, so that they can have the world's best minds recreate the world when they come back up from their bunkers. Now, here's another sign of the times that we live in. Man, Mario's butt on the moon, right? Isn't that crazy? Anyways, here's a sign of the times we live in. I have decoded a movie called Idiocracy. I highly recommend checking that one out. I don't find the humor in Idiocracy to actually be funny. I think it's sad. I think the whole movie is very sad. And I think it's sad because I don't see some made up story. I see the very world that I'm living in right now. People have become so dumb, so unintelligent during a time whenever our technology is just exponentially increasing. but is it from us collectively? Does our technological achievement equate a rise in all of our IQs? I don't see that. I don't see the correlation between the two. If anything, when I look at the world, when I speak with people, when I interact with the world that I live in, I see an unintelligent conglomeration of human beings. Okay, here's a good example.
Holes in their gear. According to the Guatemalan tourism officials, the tourists were summiting the Fuego volcano. Seismologists say it's one of the most active in the world, and officials now issuing a stern warning, telling visitors to follow the restrictions around hiking near the volcano.
This is an active, dangerous volcano. There is an exclusion zone at the top of this volcano, and yet it's really compelling to want to go closer and see the volcano. Hikers, tourists tend to get closer to the volcano than maybe, as we see in this video, is wise.
This thing's been dormant for 2 months and it is going off.
Last year, a group of hikers just had 20 minutes to flee after the volcano suddenly erupted, forcing hundreds of other locals to also evacuate.
Okay, so in 2018, an eruption killed nearly 200 people. Experts say Fuego never truly rests. Lava flows and eruptions can happen without warning. Now, there is no official hiking ban.
Hold on, let me show you a better video. I got a better video than that one. What is that? How do they know? How do they do this ad blocker thing? There was not an ad blocker on there before, but it's like they know I need it now. That's insane. That's a different one though. That's the heat wave. Here we go.
The very moment this Guatemalan volcano erupts.
There's rocks!
Look, there's freaking
terrified tourists and hikers running for their lives
from the
as
sky,
debris
hitting these people.
rains down.
Run!
Look, you can see it. Watch.
Ash, gas, and molten hot lava rocks.
Oh my God!
Look,
some of those
they're
rocks
pouring water
even
on it to
hitting
prove that
hikers,
it's hot. That's
burning
insane.
holes in their gear. According to the Guatemalan tourism officials, the tourists were summiting the Fuego volcano. Seismologists say it's one of the most active in the world.
Okay, anyways, my point is that video, there's pictures and stuff too. They're dodging lava that's falling, that's raining down all the way around them because they wanted to hike up an active volcano, get as close as they possibly could to it. I want to give a shout out to a channel out there that really highlights modern idiocracy in ways that, you know, I haven't even scratched the surface. But there's a channel out there called Joey B Tunes, or Joey B versus the World, that I highly recommend you check out. Okay, if you would like to see proof of humankind representing a collective omen of the end is near, then check out his channel. He's a laid back dude. He just calls it like it is. You know, he just gets right to it. You know what I mean? And he just says stuff that I probably can't even really say. And he's been banned many different times and they take his videos down and stuff. But geez, all he's doing is he's showing you idiocracy right now. The dumb things that people are doing. Okay, so for example, like all the different tourists that want to get right up next to a wild moose or a bison with their children, oftentimes too, by the way, and just doing really dumb things like hiking up to an active volcano and letting it just rain lava down on top of them. This has to do with the cycle that we're going through. It is, we lack energy up here on the surface world right now as that energy charges and seeps down into the bowels of the earth. Okay, the inner earth has all those gases, all those life-giving gases, and all that energy is down inside of the earth. We lack it. So that's why we would become consumers. That's why we become stupid, and that's why we need to sleep all day long, and we just don't have the energy. Okay, when you have less energy, your brain can't fully function the way it's supposed to. So that's a sign of the times there. This article says scientists may have finally solved the mystery of the strange hum heard around the world. Scientists, whoever they are, have finally solved the mystery of the strange hum heard around the world. How many people in my chat right now have heard a strange hum or a high-pitched ringing sound? or weird, strange sounds. I feel like a lot of people are reporting this more and more and more. It is also being dismissed. It's dismissed by doctors. It's dismissed by the news. It's dismissed by your governments. I can hear it. You know what this article tells you? It's tinnitus, which is a made-up condition. It's a made-up mental disease. Okay, they're saying you're delusional. Okay, that your ears are just ringing, and typically they would attribute this to, you know, people that work around aircraft that's real loud and rock concerts and stuff. So you're just, you know, it messes with your eardrums or whatever. I'm telling you, like I get comments from you guys all of the time that you hear this and you don't work around those types of loud environments. I literally just work in my bedroom. Okay, researching on the computer. I don't have these on, blasting music or anything, and I can hear this. I don't have tinnitus. I can hear something that other people cannot hear. And sometimes it bugs us, sometimes it irritates people. Sometimes I've tried to like tune into it and figure it out or whatever, because I feel like it's the earth. I feel like there is a signal being put out, and certain people of certain frequencies can hear it, can pick up on it. I'm sure everyone can hear it. It's just some people don't consciously pick up on it. It's just like a background thing. You know what I mean? But if I can hear it, I feel like there's animals that can probably also tune into it. But anyways, I don't know. People are hearing strange sounds though around the world in different ways too. Not just the ringing sound in your ears, which I can hear it right now. Usually I hear it at night, you know. But anyways, there's booming sounds, there's explosion sounds, there's strange scraping metallic noises, people that are just coming from everywhere. How this doesn't make the news, how this isn't number one to talk about and on the forefront of people's minds, stuff like this is exciting to me. This is so much more exciting than whatever is normally on the news. Now, speaking of idiocracy, okay, I've got more proof of idiocracy, of this messed up world that we live in. The world's full of entitled people that believe that they are queens and kings and, you know, that they can do whatever they want to. You know why? Because the system protects them. This corrupt, evil system of laws and codes and rules and stuff protects evil people. And I mean spiritually corrupt people. People whose spirit is rust, like the moon. All right? Check this out. This woman is dumping out the trash on the sidewalk because she's a Knicks fan. And it's a Knicks colored trash can that wasn't chained to the sidewalk so that thieves would steal garbage cans. So that thieves can't steal garbage cans. This is the type of world we live in. And this is, I hope Joey B actually puts this clip on his show, because it's well deserving. You got other things like this too. I mean, it just blows my mind that it's a trash can, that people are stealing something that others need in order to keep the world nice and clean. She just takes it, and she works at like a reputable company too. Where does this chick work? JP Morgan Chase spokesperson told the Post this employee is no longer with the company. Yeah, well, if they didn't find out about that, she would still be with the company. Think about that. All right? Just think about that. How many people have not been caught? Look at this, is just straight out of Idiocracy. In the movie Idiocracy, the people literally live like next to mountains of garbage. This couldn't be more closer to the movie Idiocracy. Check this out. And she just walks off, totally entitled. I was driving past Walmart the other day, and my son went, wow, because I drove right next to the building. There's a parking lot, and then there's Walmart. My son goes, wow, shakes his head, and I go, what is it? I already knew what he was going to say. But he goes, I can't believe people don't look up and look for cars. They look down, or they just keep walking. I'm like, yeah, that's because they are entitled. They believe that in the system that protects them so much that they have no regard for their own personal safety. They would let a car hit them, and then they would be happy about it because if they live, they get to sue that person. They get to take them to court. And this is the type of corrupt, pirate-run country that I live in, which, by the way, is as corrupt as this country is, and as much as it's falling apart, it is the model for all of your countries out there. They want to be just like the United States. Okay? So this is coming soon to a country near you. Now, speaking of the United States, Washington, D.C., which, by the way, I just visited here. I'm currently editing and uploading my newest episodes of Chasing the Apocalypse over on my Patreon. So if you want to watch me in Washington, D.C. decoding this whole place, go over to my Patreon. Come check it out. It's pretty awesome segments, pretty awesome series that I have going on there. But anyways, the next one that will come out for those of you who are watching is going to be, what's the next one? I'm working on the National Cathedral, where I was able to sneak underground into their catacombs, I'll share that with you guys too. And then after that, I'll probably be decoding I already went there, but I have to edit the video. I'm going to be editing the National Library. That one's amazing. That's probably my favorite one, actually. But here we are, Washington, D.C. This is supposed to be the reflecting pool. They have drained it of its water. It was all drained when I just went there. And they have painted it American flag blue, right? They want the water to look blue. Instead of just allowing it to be naturally colored water that will reflect the natural color of the sky itself, as it is called a reflecting pool, so you wouldn't need to paint it blue to make it blue. This is straight out of Idiocracy, dude. This is mind-blowing to me. Let's paint it blue so it looks blue. It has turned green. Check this out. I got a whole thing on it here.
The president says work is being done to fix the reflecting pool after green algae and peeling sealant appeared last week. This all follows the $16 million renovation project.
That green water.
The president is blaming vandals without offering any proof for that peeling paint. This morning, he called.
The president is arresting people.
A 10-year prison sentence for anyone.
They're going to prison for 10 years because they have reached into the reflecting pool, because that paint is coming up, that blue paint. People are reaching in and like grabbing pieces of that blue paint because it's just floating up to the top. And they're going to go to prison now for 10 years for messing with the reflecting pool that has turned green, which is a huge omen.
Convicted near the reflecting pool, or sticking their hand in the water. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe has the details.
President Trump is promising to drain the swamp again. He says work to restore the green.
Anyways, listen, this is huge, okay? This represents symbolically the ocean, okay? The waters, okay? This represents lots of things symbolically, but on the other hand, the oceans, the lakes, the rivers, the streams, all the water is starting to turn green. We have huge harmful algal blooms. That was another word that wasn't really tossed around much when I was a kid. Harmful algal blooms. We just called it algae. We just called it seaweed or whatever. Now it's harmful algal blooms that are popping up everywhere. The ocean water is changing color collectively, so much so that NASA now says that the ocean is primarily green instead of blue. So this is a huge omen. The oceans are a huge part of the changes that are happening in our world, as I discussed earlier, not dissolving the oxygen into the waters any longer, right? That's one of the things, but turning colors, growing bacteria, growing cyanobacterias and red tide and stuff like that. That's giving off toxins and stuff. So this is symbolic of what's happening to the United States. This is symbolic of a corrupt degrading of society and the world itself in general. The world's becoming corrupt. That's why it necessitates a cleansing. If it's to go on, the world needs to clean itself. It's not up to us. It's not up to us to clean up the world. It's up to us to be good stewards of the world, to keep clean where we go to leave it better than it was when we left, but we can't control the earth. Okay? As much as you would like to think that we're so high up on the food chain that we can just control the earth, we can't control the earth. The earth controls us. All right?
Peeling mess to American flag blue will begin immediately, blaming vandals.
They can't believe they don't know why this is happening. They're saying vandals did this. Dude, nature did this. You put paint on the bottom of this and filled it up with water, and in a time when it's extremely hot, right? Perfect conditions for algae to grow, and it turned green all by itself. This is a huge omen for the United States as well. This is an omen of sickness. When the water turns green, the omen that I pull out of that is sickness, plague, nasty things that are going to start happening. Okay? This runs through your veins and stuff. This American flag blue is becoming a toxic sludge color. I don't see anything good as far as an omen coming out of this.
For ongoing problems, but with no proof. An administration official says at least 10 people were arrested or given citations for allegedly vandalizing the Washington landmark.
And then they're just arresting innocent people for touching the water. You know how many people have touched that stupid water? You know, Forrest Gump ran through that water. Like, he's starting to arrest all these people. You're the reason it's green. And look, they got all these different cops. How many cops do you need for this guy right here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a serious misallocation of resources and funds and stuff. Anyway, that's crazy. Let me see what else we got. Oh, this is interesting. So they had, to commemorate America's 250th birthday, instead of doing something that symbolized purity and a return to wholesome concepts or innocence or creativity or production or anything positive, they decided to basically have a WWF tournament, WWE, UFC, same, it's all same stuff to me. All right. A UFC fight, a gladiator fight on the lawn of the White House, right in front of the White House. Right? They want to promote violence in order to celebrate their 250th birthday. Good job, America. Now, this Macho Man Randy Savage looking guy won the fight. Listen to what he says on the lawn of the White House. This is Joe Rogan. Here, I'll jump out of the way. You guys can watch this. Oops. This is so interesting. Check this out. He hadn't even said the big thing yet. Okay. I'm sure Jesus is so proud for all of you people, football players, boxers, UFC fighters. I'm just sure. I'm 100% certain. He is just rooting you on as you bloody one another, butcher one another, kill one another. I'm sure he's got his favorites in war too. I'm sure he's really waving his American flag, eating popcorn, watching you guys slaughter each other. Make him proud. Why don't you? Like, this is what Christianity has turned into. Good job, Christians. Way to represent, the ultimate symbol of peace on earth and goodwill towards men, as they say. Beat the crap out of each other. All right, let's see what else he says. I just had to say that, sorry. I don't know what that means. I'm not 12 years old like this guy. I don't know what shama on your mama means. I'm sure it's not good, whatever it is. But keep in mind, this is whatever this is, it's being said in the place that represents the best of the best, the American dream. You're watching the American dream. Little children are watching this, hoping that they can make it one day to the lawn of the White House so they can troll someone publicly and have everyone support them and cheer them on. Joe Rogan, looking at you, buddy. Hey, so, that's interesting. I have to be careful about how I respond to that. You guys know why. But that's also a sign of the times that we live in. But it's interesting that this is all being done right in front of the White House. Right in front of the ultimate symbol of the best and the brightest and the most dedicated. And look at what we have here today. This is straight out of Idiocracy. This is literally what happens in the movie Idiocracy that is not a fictitious movie. You have to watch this movie, all right? Yeah, I recommend studying this movie. Don't watch it. Study it. Take notes. Take mental notes at the very least. This is the president in the movie Idiocracy. This is the president in the future, in our actual future, when the birth rates have declined because all of the rich people don't feel like it's a good time to bring children into this world. And they, that's what we're going through. And then all of the trailer park trash, so to speak, is all making babies left and right. And so the IQ just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping until you have this. This is this. Like Trump is in this crowd right now cheering this guy on. Pretty soon, they're going to put the fighters into these positions. This guy is basically like, this is all about popularity. You're going to have YouTubers running for president and they will get votes. You're going to have content creators. You're going to have influencers. You're going to have the dumbest people who are just popular for being dumb. And then it'll become so normal that they're no longer popular for being dumb. They're just popular. And then other people want to be like them. So they will also start taking pride in not being intelligent. And they will shame others who are intelligent. And your whole freaking world will be flipped upside down. I'm already feeling the shift. Now, speaking of the United States of America, speaking of 250 years since the Declaration of Independence was written, allow me to share with you the way they spoke back then. And allow me to share with you and remind you of the core of the Declaration. A declaration, when you declare, when you shout from the rooftops that you're independent, that you don't depend upon somebody else, that you do not need to depend upon others for your freedom. Allow me to read this document to you, just this little tiny paragraph. Whenever any form, let me jump out of the way so you can read along. All right. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. Now, let's go slow. If I read this whole thing right here, it's going to go over everyone's head. I already know. Okay? It went over my head when I was a child and I first heard this. I didn't know what it was talking about. It is saying when your government becomes corrupt to a certain degree that is intolerable, that is no longer beneficial to you, the people, the individuals, it is your right. And it will clarify here in a minute, it's beyond your right. It is your duty to alter or abolish such a government. The Declaration of Independence, which these people are celebrating, like a bunch of college fraternity, like a frat party at a college. It is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute a new government, which doesn't have to be the same as this one. It could be yours. Laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and their happiness. It's saying your government sucks, change it. It is your right to do so. Your government sucks, make it good. Make the place you live good. And I'm speaking as an anarchist. I don't even believe in government, okay? But I do believe in running my household. So if you have a huge tribe, that's obviously over time going to grow into concepts like governments or whatever. It goes on. Prudence. That's the application of knowledge in wise ways, okay? Caution, wisdom, prudence, indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. That means you shouldn't change the government just because they decided not to put salt on popcorn anymore, for example. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. Let me read that again so it doesn't go over your head. This should make sense. I want this to make sense. You need to understand this. And accordingly, in similar manner, all experience has shown us, so we've seen this before, that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable, which means if it's something you can tolerate or will tolerate, you're going to tolerate it. If whatever is evil that you're going through is not evil enough to just push you to action, you're going to suffer evil. And if you're willing to do that, people are more inclined to do that than to right themselves. You see that? Than to right themselves. How? By abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. You don't like UFC fights on the lawn of the White House? Change it. You don't like all the crappy, messed up, deplorable, just base things that are happening? Change them. It is your right. But it goes on. It goes further than that. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, which means when somebody takes control of you or your world, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. That means when these things get so out of control, purposefully done in order to promote the people who are doing them and not you, it is your right, it is your duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their security. People don't speak like that anymore. When I went to Washington, I saw some of these types of quotations written upon the stone and marble buildings themselves. And although I don't believe in the government as it is today, although I consider myself more of an anarchist, the things that I was reading, these quotes that I was reading on these buildings just were so full of, I don't even know how to describe it. They were so powerful. There was truth in these words that were written upon these buildings. But the people themselves have twisted what was good and pure and wholesome at some point in our far past. And they have discarded it. People don't even know how to read those words any longer. That's the decline in intellect. But even if they were to be translated into some emoji modern alpha generation language that they could understand, they wouldn't agree with it. They would think that's lame, that's stupid, that's dumb, bro. Buddy. Anyways, moving on. A24. We just decoded a movie, The Backrooms, by this particular company. We've done a few of their movies. Death of a Unicorn. Everything Everywhere All at Once, right? They have decided it says here, Google is investing $75 million into A24 as a part of an AI research partnership between the two companies. They will look at using AI to create new tools for movie production and distribution. You're looking at the future of your movies now. Movies will be made by computers. No longer through the creative minds of human beings. No longer with little imperfections or whatever. If you read the reviews, it'll just be all thumbs ups or whatever. Because they'll just be the perfect movie over and over and over and over again, which is just going to be AI. Okay? These movie companies are going to save millions and millions and millions of dollars at first using AI to create movies. The AI is going to create what it thinks we want to see. This is amazing. This is, man, I'm so privileged to have been born at the time that I was particularly born in. I was born before Google. I was born and I was raised during a time when people went outside and played outside and weren't really afraid of their neighbors, and it was another time. That's when I was a child. But then I also grew up with all this technology. So I have the best of both worlds. I'm able to navigate the technology. My mom's like, you blow my mind how you're able to do this, how you're able to teach yourself all of these things that you have done. Because nobody taught me, you know what I mean, how to do all the things that I'm doing. I just taught myself. But some people who live in a very small time frame, like myself, at the end of one era and the beginning of the next one, we're watching and transitioning and living through so many important pieces of history, like just detrimental times. And I have to believe it's for a reason. That's how I feel personally. You know, that I was born, to quote the Bible, for such a time as this. Next up, we've got this article says a common supplement, melatonin, shows a concerning link to heart failure. Oh no. Oh no, take melatonin and you're going to have a heart attack and die is basically what this article is saying. Right? So, a whole propaganda piece against naturally occurring medicines, vitamins, etc. Now, everything in moderation, okay? Obviously, you shouldn't just be popping melatonin all the time. I feel like that should be common knowledge. But what I don't see is an article about, like, I don't know, Ambien and the side effects of the sleeping pills that they are creating by mashing up a bunch of chemicals, spraying them with more chemicals, drying them out, baking them like the drug dealers that they are. I don't see them talking about hallucinations, worsening of depression, anxiety, emotional instability, suicidal thoughts. Notice I didn't say thoughts of unaliving yourself. That's idiocracy. Don't say that, please. Don't do that. Let's keep some words in our dictionary, if you don't mind. Confusion, aggression, extreme nervousness. Yeah, Ambien, common sleeping medicine, which is also known as pharmakia or sorcery, as opposed to just simple melatonin. Just one ingredient, melatonin. Boom. Take like 2 grams of that before bedtime or whatever. That's what I do. And you'll start feeling, naturally kind of tired. But only when you need it. Because if you're out there, honestly, if they teach people how to live, how to properly live, right? In ways that are healthy and effective and productive, you won't need melatonin or any of this stuff. You go outside, you're working, you're exercising, you're riding bikes, you're swimming. You're not just sitting there in front of the TV all day long in front of a bright light. Yeah, no wonder you're fudged up and you can't sleep and you got, what do you call it? When you can't sleep or whatever? I forgot the name of that. Green Day did a song about it. But you know what I'm saying, right? Live your life properly and you won't need all these little medicines to basically give you the excuse to continue living improperly, unhealthily. You're living unhealthy lives, and so you're depending upon drugs to get rid of all of the natural things that are happening to you, that your body is waving red flags back and forth saying, probably shouldn't do that. Probably shouldn't doom scroll for 4 hours on Facebook. Probably shouldn't be playing video games for 6 hours out of your day. Whatever it is that you're doing. Probably shouldn't be drinking and getting drunk 5 nights out of the week or whatever it is. It could be all kinds of things. There's all kinds of problems that people have. But when your body gives you little red flags like you can't sleep, I've got a headache all the time and I don't understand why, or whatever it may be, listen to your body. change, make adjustments in your life. And this is not the kind of change I'm talking about. Taking pills, that's not the kind of change I'm talking about. I'm talking about making changes to how you're living your life. Your body's trying to help you out. Signs of the times that we live in. Now, this is what it looks like over on my Patreon. Okay, so if you go visit my Patreon, it's got like a section on the top where it says chats. It's got like my Chasing the Apocalypse series. It's got chats. It's got basically Patreon version of playlists and stuff like that. But this is where people are uploading. Like, let me see what the newest one was. Heather had just posted 10 hours ago. Can't really see Heather's. There's Heather's down there. And she's talking about things she's experiencing. We got Simeon. Simeon's been talking about how hot it's been getting in his neck of the woods. We got Simeon also posted 29,000 lightning strikes were recorded in the UK. So these storms are getting out of control. Aether Pliskin is over in my chat. He's posted this article. You can click on it and it'll fill up the whole screen so you can read it, check it out. Scientists are alarmed after 2 wildfires hit Greenland within a week. Greenland, wildfires up in the Arctic. That's something else. What else we got? And you can comment on people's, you guys can talk to each other and everything. You can leave comments, you can leave emoji replies and stuff. A lot of people are sending me pictures of the white sun with the little blue. Look at that. Look how white that sun is, man. Look at that. Can I make that bigger? Look how white that is. That's insane. Remember when the sun used to be yellow? Who is that? Sweet Asylum. Thank you for posting, Sweet Asylum. Let's see, what else do I got here? People are posting pictures of the sky, the firmament, the sun, the moon. What else we got? The heat waves that are happening. This is a cool one of the moon. The mud. What else? There's some articles and stuff. The amount of oxygen that's being lost. You can repost articles here. Things people are seeing in the sky, the Schumann resonance. Here's the one that I was like, whoa, I got to share that one today. That was, who posted that? Aether Pliskin. Hey, thank you. Aether Pliskin posted this 2 months ago. I don't check this every single day because I have like 4 different jobs that I do, businesses that I run, my website, my books, my YouTube, etc. But I do check this as often as I can. And I just saw that one. People are seeing these lights in the sky that look like spirits or angels and stuff. Strange beams of light in Turkey and Greece. Anyways, lots of really cool stuff. You guys feel free to go check it out. Feel free to add to it. Okay. You can type in here. Let me type in thanks everyone for sharing. Boom. See, I just shared my thoughts. I can click on this little thing and share a picture right down here in the corner if I want to. Anyways, that's my Patreon. It's pretty cool. So if you enjoy my live chat during my live streams, you can jump over to the chat over on my Patreon and share your thoughts on my latest video or whatever. There's different chats too. So I have an Omens chat. You can see over here, I've got a general chat. That's just like for saying what's up. Some general questions people might have or whatever. We got an Omens chat. See that right there? We got a Plasma Apocalypse chat for all things Plasma Apocalypse. We have a Strange Geology chat. That's one of my favorite ones for you guys to post pictures. So if you can see people posting pictures of strange geology and stuff. There's some like melted looking rocks and everything. And then last but not least, vintage maps. I like this one too. So I'm constantly posting in this vintage map one. I don't know why you can't see that one, but here's an example. This is actually a globe, but whatever. But it shows Hyperborea. I posted that one. And I like to put a lot of information about the things I post too. So for example, I posted this first globe that clearly shows the land at the North Pole. You can click on it there. It clearly shows that land at the North Pole with a big hole at the top too. And then I went above and beyond and I included information about it. So you can go here, click read more, and I have a whole article that I wrote all about this particular image, what it's called, when it was made. And if you don't want to write that much, you can copy and paste. You can just put the image into ChatGPT or Claude AI or whatever you use and just say, hey, write me an article about this, whatever. Paste it right in here, okay? Or you can just write your own. Either way, a lot of people are sharing good information over here on my Patreon. And there's other ones too. I got lots of different maps over here. This one shows the land of Jesus. Terra de Isu. You guys see that one? You can make it big too. I try to upload the largest files, the largest images that I can. So that way, if you want, you can right click on it, and you guys can't see on my screen, but if you right click, you can save image. You can save this to you can have it. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. What else we got? Oh, I noticed on Reddit, a lot of people starting to post articles just like this one. People are posting stuff that says, why is the sun setting more to the north? And then people are talking about, some people, you'll have naysayers in there. Oh, so that's the way it's always been. But then we have other people. Has anyone noticed that the sun seems to be setting too far north? The sun is rising too far north. Right? And then this guy, what did I see here? Oh, this guy actually mentions Mr. MBB333. That's another channel I like to get some news. I don't really like the clickbaity, thumbnails. If you're watching, bro, dial it down a notch if you don't mind, okay? But he does get some good information. But then other people are in here and they're like, this guy says, yeah, I've posted about this. It's rising wrong as well. You see that? He says it's rising wrong as well. I sit in the same spot in the back deck in Florida. I watch the sunrise. I know what time of year it is by where the pool and the enclosure is where it rises. I've posted this last year, and this year it's off even more. I'm not crazy. I've been watching this for 10 years. And there's different comments like this, right? There's a lot of, this guy says, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, no, it's not, which is what most people would say. These people are not paying attention to the changes that are happening in the sky for whatever scientific reason, but I believe flat out that they are not observant, this guy says. They're not paying attention to the details. The sun and the moon have changed and are changing. Who is that? Weak difference. Goes by weak difference. That was a good post. I like it. Anyways, thought I would share that stuff with you guys. I hope that you guys are enjoying my Omens episodes. If you want some special bonus content and you want to go with me on my adventures, go over to my Patreon, check out Chasing the Apocalypse. If you join that tier to watch Chasing the Apocalypse, your name will automatically be entered into my credits at the end of my shows every month. So it's double. You unlock all the videos on my Patreon. And I've got a whole video diary thing too. Like when I go on my trips, I'm doing video diaries, little behind the scenes stuff, lots of more stuff to check out over there. Anyways, thanks for watching. And until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.
One book holds the key to unlocking the biggest secret in all of history. JayDreamerZ presents Ancient Oblivion, the Plasma Apocalypse. Study it, and you'll discover the very real details behind the reoccurring event that resets civilizations and reshapes the entire world, bridging the gap between fiction and fact. This book is a must-have for all truth seekers. Then in his second book, you'll learn about the one place of refuge from this world storm. You'll explore the ends of the earth, find the fountain of youth, and envision yourself enveloped in the vapor canopy. In Ancient Oblivion, Return to Hyperborea. Available now. Order direct from JayDreamerZ and receive your very own autographed copy. Go to JayDreamerZ.com for more information on our Ancient Oblivion and the Plasma Apocalypse, and sign up for a free 24-hour cram session with a complimentary day pass. The end is near, so order now before it's too late.
I try so hard
Feel the magic in the chat tonight.